Are you ready?
Watch is on. But through the final corner they come on the green flag lap. We're about to get racing in the 5th round of the championship. It's the qualifying race about to start here at Navarra. Marc Basseng on pole in the Lamborghini, Sandstrom second in the Audi as the lights go green. It's a good start from Alvaro Parent, pulling towards the outside on the run down to the first corner. Parent's going to take the lead here. Fantastic start from the Portuguese driver. Basseng gets shuffled back. A phenomenal start from Lucas Ordóñez. He's up into 3rd position, but he's got onto the slick AstroTurf on the outside and can't get it slowed down. Look how cramped it is going into turn 3. Ordóñez off the road again, but somehow he has gone from 10th to 3rd by the time they get to the first corner. Everyone else busying their way through the left-hand kink as the second McLaren runs wide.
Yeah, Mike Crazy, the way he got trapped with traffic all around him and nowhere to get back onto the racetrack. But what a start from that Nissan in 3rd place. An absolute screamer up the outside and around the outside of turn 1 and slotted that Nissan into position. And, well, you can't do better than that.
Could be Stefan Ortelli and Laurence Vanville, because if the rain comes down, they are going to lose so much more time and might even, if it came down heavily, have to pit again for wet tyres, which would see them drop so far back.
Campanico is only 2 seconds behind Ortelli, and he's running in the 52s on a wet tyre. Ortelli's running 54s on a slick tyre. You know, the slick tyre time has bit by bit, but has taken the best part of 51 and a bit minutes to get anywhere near what would be the overlap. And if you imagine that Jarvis and Basseng started this race on slick tyres, how wrong was that judgment when we're still not able to match a wet weather tyre that's been running in conditions where it's probably the best part of the tread block's gone, and still the slick tyred cars aren't able to match those lap times.
Yep, absolutely. It really was a mistake from the front runners to start on those slick tyres, as we see Cesar Campanico edging closer and closer now to Stefan Ortelli. You can see the difference with Campanico going to get the damp part of the circuit, Ortelli doing everything he can to stay on the dry part of the circuit. 7.5 minutes to go. Torres has just done his personal best first sector, so that Lamborghini's very, very impressive.
I mean, Sebastian Loeb last lap 152.2, Frank Stippler's last lap 151.1. Gap with what 7 minutes remaining is 9.4 seconds. Not possible to do the calculations and say that Stippler could be on the tail of the Lamborghini or on the tail of the McLaren at the end of this race, but everybody's now driving round on tippy toes. Those who are on wets are on tippy toes. Those that are on slicks are still having to fight to retain control, but they're bit by bit nullifying the deficit between the two tyres. Loeb going over to the right to try and get some moisture to keep those tyres cool. And looking there in the background, there is Stippler doing the same kind of thing, staying way over to the right of racetrack as we get a look at Steve Doherty in the Nissan. And he's battling with Karun Chandhok and
over 11th place.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race, certainly for Karun, and Steve Doherty is probably going to make a pass on the BMW driver very shortly. I think Karun's finding this a real struggle, having never had experience of the BMW in these kind of conditions and just sort of been thrown in the deep end. Flashing lights as we see the Audi making its way through. That is Frank Stippler. He doesn't need any traffic to get in the way of his progress.
Now let's see if Doherty can take advantage perhaps of Chandhok backing off for the Audi. No, he's not quite close enough, is he? Oh, maybe as they come into the final corner, but Chandhok took a wide line in, so that'll give him the best exit of the corner anyway.
Yeah, but that was also
Stippler immediately dives.
No, but that was Stippler was coming through.
Yeah,
Karun Chandhok was a lap down. Now we see Doherty, who's been maybe the beneficiary of that gentlemanly move by Karun Chandhok, up into turn 2, and just watch to see. When he goes off, and there it is, easy peasy.
Recovers onto the circuit, slots in behind Steve Doherty, now down to 12th place, Karun Chandhok. Doherty up into 11th, but still running in 5th place overall, as we now see Stefan Ortelli under pressure from Cesar Campanico behind. That's
Duncan Tappy sort of further down the field.
Oh, there's the nose up the inside from Campanico, and well, Ortelli needs to be careful here. The last thing he needs is to get punted out of this race.
But what Ortelli is trying to do is put himself ahead of Duncan Tappy to, there you see the headlights going nuts. Stefan Ortelli probably trying to say something over the radio to advise Duncan Tappy that he's a lap down, let me through. And then Duncan Tappy stays way, way, way wide. In fact, he just goes off the track, and that allows the Campanico car to also get through. So no advantage to the Monegasque resident. And he's hanging on there the best he can. Just 4 minutes and 19 seconds to go.
And he needs to be careful because he's got a very fast McLaren coming up behind, Andreas Zuber, who is actually in the same class as Ortelli. So that would put him down, if Zuber got past, it would put him down to something like 7th position. And there's the look up the inside. Whoa, Ortelli closes the door in the fight with Cesar Campanico. This is going to be an entertaining last few laps because look, they're all starting to queue up behind the Monegasque driver. Out onto the back straight they come. Campanico moves to the inside because he's on his wet tyres. Meanwhile, Andy Zuber goes past Duncan Tappy now to take another position. Or to lap, sorry, Duncan Tappy again. And so now we're going to see a three-way battle going on over 5th place in the final, what? Well, Loeb has come over the line, so two or three laps remaining.
Two laps remaining, I would say.
Ortelli struggling so badly on those slick tyres. He's still lapping in the 1:55. Here comes Campanico into the final corner. Ortelli goes wide. That's going to allow Campanico the chance. It's not the final corner, my apologies, but it's still a sharp right-hander. Ortelli holds it in there just about, but then goes wide. This is the final corner. And here comes Andy Zuber. Watch for that McLaren.
Absolutely.
Takes the wide line in. He's going to slingshot out of there, and he's going to try and get past both of them on the start straight. Here we go then. Andy Zuber in the white McLaren. Past one Audi in an instant. Can he get past the other Audi by the time they get down to the first corner? This is the battle for 3rd place in the Pro Cup. Not close enough just yet, but it's also the battle for 5th place overall, which means 5th place on the grid for the main race later on.
Well, that's been an unexpected intrusion into this private Audi battle, and Andy Zuber's done a great job trying to through turn 4, trying to put the McLaren up the inside of the Audi. He's got the grip in the same way that Campanico has on the wet tyres. Stefan Ortelli again having to hang on literally by everything that's available to him to keep his Audi on the track. Slow the progress of the McLaren down, slow the progress of Campanico's Audi down. Through turn 6, that right-hand corner, through turn 7, then the run down to turn 8, downhill, slightly tricky apex, and now Andreas Zuber, who's going to get the momentum off the corner, and it's going to be a defensive line, but of course Stefan Ortelli doesn't want to go off line because he needs the grip under braking, as Mike Parisi, thumbs up from Mike O'Greasy.
He's Irish today for some reason.
He could be Irish today, but look at this.
Here comes Surely down into the left-hander. No, not close enough, but it's only a matter of time. Sebastian Loeb has come across the line, so this will be the final lap, or there'll be one more after. We'll wait for confirmation. Depends how long ago. But here comes Andy Zuber to the outside line now. Ortelli has the inside, but he doesn't have as much grip, which allows Zuber to drive right around the outside, gets on the AstroTurf, and that could allow Campanico back into the party, and it does. So Campanico slots back into the middle of these two. What a great fight for 5th position. Zuber's going to try and pull the same trick he did last time.
He's got the two Audis almost side by side, so the racetrack a lot narrower.
And now Campanico has the inside line on Ortelli coming down into turn 1. Zuber's tucked right in there. He's got past one of the Audis. Campanico struggling in a straight line, tries to sell the dummy to Ortelli, but not doing. Fantastic stuff. A little bit sideways for Andy Zuber. There's Andy Zuber's other half getting a little bit nervous. And here he comes up the inside. Job done for Andy Zuber. He moves up into 5th place. Absolute delight in the pit lane. And this has been a great performance because they started in 18th position on the grid. And now Ortelli's about to get assaulted by Cesar Campanico. Look at them, touching each other all the way around. The look up the inside, is there a bit of a touch? Oh, there might well have been, and now Duncan Tappy wants to get involved as well. The clock has ticked to 0, so this is the final lap of the race. Duncan Tappy, meanwhile, is unlapping himself from Stefan Ortelli. Fantastic stuff. Campanico now goes back past Tappy, who realises he's just going to get the blue flags if he stays in front. Now the final lap, I think, means Sebastian Loeb is onto his final lap, and therefore these guys have one more lap to do. So these guys are on their penultimate lap. There's the move from Campanico, up the inside, pushes Ortelli out onto the AstroTurf, and that sees Ortelli drop down to 7th position now. What a disastrous race this has turned into for them. It's possible to make up the places from 7th position, but it's going to be an awful lot more difficult when your teammate and main rivals are in 2nd place at the moment. There's the Sebastian Loeb Racing pit wall. They've seen their car come home to win the qualifying race twice already this season, and they're about to make it 3 out of 5 as far as qualifying races are concerned. They're getting used to these victories, but they're yet to pick up anything in the main race. Will that change here at Navarra? A circuit that has been so strong historically for McLarens continues to be so. The checkered flag is out, tyres were perfect, driving was perfect, a perfect race for Sebastian Loeb Racing. Loeb wins. He and Parent taking victory. 2nd place is going to be Frank Stippler. What a good performance from them, beating their main championship rivals. 3rd place across the line, Gerhard Tuareza. Fantastic performance from Tuareza and Procek. They'll start 3rd on the grid for tomorrow's race. 4th across the line will be Andreas Simonsen. There is Tuareza there, taking the checkered flag. Absolute delight. Simonsen will come across the line in 4th position. Jan Koener's finished in 9th. Alan Coder in 10th. Steve Doherty's finished 11th. Hubert Hoopt has finished 16th. Chanduk finishes 12th. Very mixed up race after all that rain. Simonsen across the line. He finishes 4th and 2nd in Pro-Am, so that Pro-Am battle is going to run and run. It's fantastic stuff. Great drive here from Andy Zuber, up into 5th position from 18th on the grid. He and Mike Parisi have performed very strongly. They told me they'd have the race pace after a disastrous qualifying, and they were absolutely spot on. Across the line comes Stefan Ortelli, 7th place for him. And it's going to be very interesting to talk to them in the break between our 2 races about what, who, when and why they made that tyre decision. It seemed like the right way to go. There's our Gentleman Trophy winner across the line, Claudio Stanovic, finishing in 8th place overall, which is a very impressive performance after Michele Rugolo put in a mega start to finish the first lap in 3rd position, I think it was. And there is our pole sitter, 15th place, Stefan Racina and Mark Basseng. They're ones to talk to as well, if I'm brave enough to ask them why on earth they started on the slick tyres when everyone else around them was starting on wets. An elongated final lap, wasn't it? There were cars coming across the finish line all over the place. But once again, Sebastian Loeb and Alvaro Parent prove they've got the raw pace. And it's been such a shame this season that they haven't ended up being title contenders, because they have the pace to be title contenders. It's just not working out for them. And he needs to go down to the end of the pit lane there, Seb, down to Parc Fermé. Finds first gear and then pulls off. Here's a look at the results after the qualifying race. This will then be the grid for the main race coming up later. Sebastian Loeb Racing taking the win. Loeb and Parent in first position. Stippler and Sandstrom finishing in second place. And a fantastic performance from Gerhard Torres and Harry Poschek to finish in third position and winning the Pro-Am class. Claudio Stanovic and Michele Ruglo finishing 8th overall, winning the Gentleman's Trophy. But look at that, championship leaders Ortelli and Van Thor only finishing in 7th position. Further down, we had the 35 Nissan. Despite serving a drive-through penalty, Bunker Ordonez managed to finish in 13th position. Mark Basseng and Stefan Racina, pole sitters, finished in 15th position. Mermelnoff and Jarvis started third on the grid. They finished in 18th place. Alan Day and Aman Ibrahim were retirements. So there's Sebastian Loeb giving a wave to the fans up on the top of the main pit lane here. The helmet comes off. And we'll be talking to him, no doubt, in a few moments' time. There's our second place car, Frank Stippler. A lot of satisfaction for them, there's no doubt about that. Eight points for the win for Sebastian Loeb Racing. 6 points for second place, 4 points for third place. But we can now hear from our race winner, Sebastian Loeb. He's in the pit lane with John Watson.
Sebastian, congratulations, third qualifying race win.
Yeah, that's good, but never a race win. So hopefully this afternoon will be better than last time. I'm happy with the performance of the car. It was some good strategy also from the team. We stayed all the race with wet tire, I think a lot. Used some slicks sometime, and it was a mistake. So no, it was a great race for us. Alvaro took a great start like every time, and I could keep the lead.
Sebastian, today, were you a racing driver or are you still a rally driver in these conditions?
Maybe a bit of both. It's for sure it's very sleepy, and you have to control the slide a lot of time, but still it's different. It's racing, the car is different, it's a track, so more racing driver.
Where was the co-driver saying 5 left, 9 right?
The radio. The engineer told me good rhythm, it's okay, good gap, no problem. So.
Well done, thank you.
Great to hear from Sebastian Loeb, and he's absolutely spot on about Parent's starts. Slovakia ring, he managed to go 9th to 3rd in the qualifying race. Here he's pulled off 4th to the lead at the first corner. There is Frank Stippler, and we can hear from him now after finishing in 2nd position, another man who stayed out on the wets.
Frank, congratulations. Somebody in the pits was looking after you today, making that choice for the wets for your stint.
It was a very last-minute decision. The slicks were there already, and it was just on the edge, I think. Fortunately, it began to rain slightly, drizzling mid of the stint, so we survived with the rain tires, at least. Without that kind of wind, we didn't have today. It was just the right decision, and it's always a question of good luck as well.
And welcome points. Congratulations. Thank you.
So that means that Frank Stippler and Edward Sandstrom close the gap in on Stefan Ortelli and Laurence Van Thor. It's still 16 points, but there's still 25 points up for grabs this afternoon. And then, of course, we've got the final round of the season in Baku. So it's going to be a fascinating race this afternoon, no doubt about that. Nicky Mermelnoff is now 3rd in the championship standings. As far as teams are concerned, Belgian Audi Club are in command, but Sebastian Loeb Racing are coming into it. Now that they're starting to get those points finishes, they are starting to close in at the top of the championship. Make sure you join us later on for the main race here from the Slovakia ring. But for now, thank you very much for joining myself, Jack Nicholls, and John Watson. We'll see you later on.
Are you ready?